It's time to start closing up the garden today, and I truly can't believe we're already at the end of the season. I feel like I just planted the garden and now it's already time to take it down. What I'm starting with today is harvesting my sunflower heads. So as you can see, they're kind of wilted over now, so they're done. I have to move quick when it comes to the sunflowers because the birds go after them right away. So I'm taking them off a little bit prematurely. Normally I would wait for them to dry out a little bit more, but since they're already done and wilted over, I'm just gonna cut them off now and then I'll let them dry inside. So when you pull your sunflower head off, it's got all these little yellow bits on the top, but if you gently rub them, they come flying off, and underneath is where you've got all your sunflower seeds. So as you can see, the birds have not got to this one yet because all the sunflower seeds are still there. But in previous years, and I'm sure I'll find over there today, the birds get to them very quickly and they pull all the seeds out, shell them all, and then I think last year I only got one mason jar of seeds. So plus side to the birds coming in there and picking the sunflowers off is that they tend to fall on the ground and miss some of them. And those are the ones that end up planting themselves. The ones that have fallen off and been planted on their own are the ones that grow the biggest. So this, obviously I did not plant in the middle of the garlic patch, and same with the first one that I cut off. These actually fell off and blew over here. So they grew really well. And there's some super big ones back there that also fell off from last year and grew themselves. I don't know if you can see me back here, but this is one that planted itself from last year. And honestly, I can't believe the height of this thing. This is called a Kong sunflower. So they grow super tall, as you can see. And they also have all these little kind of offshoots off the side that grow multiple sunflowers themselves. So this one has one here, but it also has two small ones here. This one's got one and it's got two small ones here. And for reference, I'm 5'2" in height. So this is significantly taller than I am. Honestly, this thing is probably like 8 feet tall at least. And the sunflowers up there have 4, 5, or 6 growing on one stem. I can see that this one right here has already been picked over for the most part by the birds, which is really too bad because I do want some seeds off these. I like them in comparison to just the single sunflower. I do love the single sunflowers, but I really like how these ones look, but this has already been picked over. I'm hoping that when the birds picked that off, some of these seeds, what animal is in here? I'm hoping that while they knocked some of the seeds off, they fall into the ground and hopefully will plant themselves next year, but we'll see. Why do I have to be so freaking short? Look at the size of this thing. It's so big, it has folded itself in half. This is ridiculous. No birds have picked this over yet, so this is still completely full of seeds, which is great. Just gonna get all these little yellow bits off. Oh yeah, this is great. I'm gonna have so many seeds. Oh, they've gotten actually a few right here, you can see. Most of this thing, 99.9% of this thing is still perfectly intact. This is great. You can see in this one, there's absolutely nothing left of it. It's super dry. The birds have completely picked this clean, so I'll just be cutting this one down right at the bottom and throwing the whole thing away. Look at this. This is beautiful. I did not need to cut this down, but some of the little yellow parts are just starting to fall out now. And when I came into the garden, I scared a whole bunch of birds out of here, and I don't want to lose this sunflower. I want the seeds out of it. When it comes to saving the seeds out of your sunflowers, you want to keep the same logic in mind as you would when you're seed saving for your vegetables and stuff like that. I want the seeds out of this because this is beautiful. This is big, it looks perfect, and I want the seeds out of this to continue to replicate this essentially. So I'm not going to save the seeds out of these little tiny things because this is what it's going to grow. I want this because this is perfect. I've got the heads off of all the sunflowers that I want to save. The rest of them I'm just going to leave to keep on growing. There's still some sunflowers that haven't even opened yet. So I want to let those continue to do their thing. The bees are still in here and they're still eating off these, so I'm not taking any of these down. The sunflowers themselves are the very last thing I cut down out of the garden. The only reason I took the heads off these now is literally just to save the seeds from them, and that's it. Otherwise, I would just leave them in here, but I do want to save some seeds for next year just because I didn't get very many last year. So the rest of these sunflowers are going to stay, and I probably won't take them down until I plant the garlic. So still a while left to go for these, but this is great. I'm really happy with how many sunflower heads I was able to save, and now it's time to move on to start pulling out all the zucchini plants and start taking down the rest of the garden. Okay, so the first thing I need to take down is this zucchini. This zucchini went absolutely nuts this season. This year was one of the most ridiculous years for zucchini. Yes, I planted an obscene amount, but they grew like crazy. It was the only thing that grew in the weather that we had this summer. And now I'm kind of at a point where I've used up everything I could use up, and there's still some in here that are just obnoxiously large. For example, this one, like there's so many of these in here that I will not be using anything for. These will not taste good. They'll be super bitter. I mean, I suppose I could save the seeds out of these, but I have so many that I probably won't. So I'm gonna pick all of these out of here. These are gonna go over to the animals so they won't get wasted. And it's time to start taking all the plants out. All right, that was the last of the zucchini, and this area is finally cleaned up. I will have to rake this out once I'm done the whole garden, but for now, it's looking pretty good. I need to go grab a bowl though, because I see that my peppers have produced a second harvest, so I want to grab those banana peppers before I yank the plants out. I mean, in theory, I could probably leave them a little bit longer, but the weather was down to, I think, 4 degrees the other night or 6 degrees the other night. We're supposed to be warm for the next few days, but then we are going into cooler temperatures, and I don't really think much more is going to grow out of them. If they start a third harvest, I'm not going to be able to get them anyways before it freezes. So I think I'm done with those for now. I'll pull off what's good and then toss the rest. My cherry tomatoes are still completely growing out of control, so I'm going to leave those. Bailey asked me this morning before she left for school if I could please leave the cherry tomatoes. So I'll definitely be leaving those. They're doing really, really well still. And I'm gonna leave some of the herbs. The carrots are not quite ready yet, and neither are the leeks, but outside of that, everything else is coming out. I do need to weed this whole garlic patch too and get that ready, because garlic goes in probably around 4 more weeks. So, I mean, I still have a little bit of time with that, but I might as well get it under control. I'm in here. And I do need to harvest my potatoes, which is probably going to be a very, very sad harvest this year, but we'll see. Check this out.
Oh, that's a good one. Whoa.
Pretty cool, eh?
Sure.
We're gonna take all the seeds out of it and plant them next year.
Why is it so hot?
Well, because it was outside in the sun. Hold it up to your face. Don't pull the seeds out. Put it beside your head. Let's see how big it is.
I can do it.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah, check that out. Pretty cool, eh?
What is this?
It's the Vago, so the same brand that we have the garden beds of. I got this, and
So you don't have to put it outside, like at the window or something.
yeah, it doesn't have to go to the window. Check it out. Pretty cool, eh?
Yes. I love how it just like lights up.
Yeah, the light comes off the top. Look, just sits right in there. And take the lid off and feel how sturdy those little trays are.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's like plastic.
Yeah.
It's like 3D printed.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, eh? So we can plant, I was thinking we could do a couple herbs inside over the winter.
Yeah.
And grow them in there. Pretty cool, eh?
Uh-huh.
All right, it's the next day now. I was gonna pull the peppers out last night, but I didn't have enough time before the kids got home from school. We had to run to sports, and then the elements in my hot water tank went yesterday, so I ended up having to change those when we got back from sports last night, so I just didn't have time to come down here. So it is now the next day. I'm gonna pull all my banana peppers out, and I mean, so far, it looks different down here already. When we came back from sports last night and I was driving in the driveway, Bailey was like, oh my gosh, the garden looks so different. I'm like, I know, it looks empty. I know that comes with this time of the year, but it's always a sad time taking down the garden. Anyways, I'm gonna pull all the peppers and then I'm gonna empty out this bed. I will leave the cherry tomatoes on the end because they are just abundant right now and there's tons of green ones on there. So I'm hoping they all turn before we start getting too cold of temperatures at night. Other than that, it's just another day of taking the garden down. As you can see, these peppers are pretty small. I mean, normally they're probably around like 3 times the size of this. This has just been a terrible, terrible year for everything, but I don't want to waste these. Hot peppers are something that we like to have a lot of around here, so any pepper of any size is going to get canned. These ones are a little bit closer to kind of where they should be, but they're still way too small. All right, I got a somewhat decent amount of peppers. I mean, really anything at this point is better than nothing. So I'll can these up probably later tonight, maybe when we get home from sports. I'm not sure yet, but definitely in the next day or two, I'll can these up. I do need to take down the netting that I have over a couple of my garden beds. So let me show you that quickly. So I got this netting from the same company that does the garden beds. It's called Vago. So they have covers that fit on specific sizes of beds. They're good for keeping out bugs and moss and that kind of stuff, but they're also good as a frost cover. So in the spring when I start planting, I can put these over top. In the past, I've had issues where I've planted stuff and then we got this surprise late frost and it killed everything. So these are going to be good to put on first thing in the spring when I start planting, just as an extra layer of protection, just in case. And then I can of course use them for shade and to keep bugs off stuff throughout the growing season. This was the first year that I went with raised garden beds, and honestly, I'm very happy that I did. I do love planting in the ground, but for where I am here, it's so insanely wet in the spring here that I've planted countless things that have been drowned out and had to be replanted. If you watched earlier this season when I planted my potatoes, I actually had to replant a whole plot again because they got drowned out in the rain. They were under about 8 inches of rain. So for me, using the raised beds, it just makes sense for where I am and what I'm doing. I do plant my garlic in the ground and my potatoes in the ground, but outside of that, this was the first year that I planted almost everything in a raised bed. So definitely we'll do the same thing again next year. I might add a few more. I'm not really sure yet. If you are interested in some of these beds, I'll leave the link in the description below. They have tons of other stuff. As I showed yesterday, that little greenhouse seed starting kit, we just got that from them as well. So I'm going to be growing some herbs inside over the winter. So I'm excited to try that. Now it's time to take these down. And I do need to pull out the rest of my tomatoes and I might check my carrots and see if they're ready. The reason I'm taking these off is just because of the amount of snow that we get here in the winter, and I don't want the snow to sit on top of this and cave the whole thing in. So that's why I'm taking these off. Check this out. I found a watermelon in here. I saw it growing earlier this year and I kind of just forgot all about it, but I just pulled it off now and I mean, it's kind of small. So I'm hoping that when I cut it open, it's not all white inside and that it does have some pinkish reddish color to it. This is pretty much the only one that grew of any sort of significant size. As I'm standing here though, I do see another, I don't know if you can see that really tiny one. It's like the size of a golf ball here. And there's an even smaller one in there. So I'll probably leave this plant as it is, even though the growing season is pretty much done for this and this little melon isn't going to amount to anything, but I'll probably just leave it anyway because I feel bad pulling it off. But I at least got one, and I'm gonna leave this for the kids. They can cut this open when they get home from school, and I'm sure both Mason and Bailey are gonna be pretty excited about that. All right, let's have a look at what we're working with the carrots. Some of them are looking kind of small still. I really should have thinned these out better, but I did not. So that is my own fault. Oh, okay, actually not too bad. Look at that. I did a variety pack this year, so I planted a bunch of different colors. So I've got yellow, orange, and I think I have purple in here somewhere. Do I have purple? Oh, look at that. This one's not purple, but what a nice looking carrot. Look at that. I know they're not that big, but every time I pull something out of the ground that I grew, no matter what it is, it still makes me very happy. So, I mean, that's perfect. That's like perfect carrot. Oh, the best. Oh, yeah. Oh, what is that? Anyways, look at the rest of it though. I could sit here all day and show you every single carrot I pull out. This is very exciting. Some of these will eat fresh, but I am gonna pickle some of them. I don't know if you've ever had spicy pickled carrots, but they are life-changing. If you like spicy dilly beans, then you should definitely try a spicy dill carrot. They're so good. Every time I make them, Nicole ends up taking a significant amount of them, so I'm definitely going to be doing some of that again. This is the best. Some of these I'm going to leave because they're not quite big enough, but this is awesome. Check it out. I don't know if you can see because it's very sunny right now, but look at the colors of these. We've got red, orange, yellow, purple. These, while they are very misshapen, look amazing. I'm so happy with just everything about them. Honestly, everything about them. They're perfect. I'm going to can some of these, and all of the variety of colors are going to look so nice in the jars on the shelf. We all know I love nice, colorful jars on the shelf, so this is going to be great. I can't wait for this. And honestly, probably Nicole can't wait for it either. This is amazing. So happy. I just spent the last 2 hours weeding the entire garden, and what a friggin' mess. What a mess. It's amazing how fast weeds can take over. So I just pulled all the weeds out of all the garden beds, all the raised beds, all the beds that were in the ground, and I also pulled all the weeds out of where the potatoes are, because that is the next thing I'm going to harvest. Well, the next and the last thing I'm going to harvest, I guess. And I didn't want any weeds in there because I want to be able to see what I'm pulling up. So the potato patches are all cleaned up, and they are ready for me to start digging up the potatoes. I accidentally pulled a couple up while I was pulling all the weeds out, and I did see 2 good potatoes. They're a pretty decent size, so I'm hoping that at least a few more in there are of a good size, but I guess we'll find out in a minute. Before I head back down to the garden to finish up what I'm doing, I want to show you these cameras that I got. I picked up a couple security cameras because if you've been following along, you know I've had an issue with theft and people coming onto my property when I'm not home. So I got these cameras. I have a few of them, and they're completely wireless and they're completely solar power, which is great because I don't have any power out here. So basically what you do is you plug the little panel into the camera, and the camera has a little mount. It takes a couple screws, and then this just clicks right onto the mount. This records in night vision mode and in the daytime, obviously. It has a 90-degree tilt on it and 360-degree panoramic view, and it'll pick up movement in the dark up to 33 feet away, which is really handy as well. This is also going to be handy for me to be able to see if there's coyotes or other predators coming over to the animals. There's an app that you download with these cameras, and you get the notification right to your phone and right to your watch if you have them paired up. My watch is going crazy right now because I keep putting the camera in front of my face, so it's picking up my face on here. So this just goes off a wireless network, like I said, and it's powered by this little solar panel here. So I'm going to be putting these up. I'm going to put one up here, one by the house, and I've got a couple more that I want to put around the property in other places. But the main thing for me is having an eye on my animals. It's really unfortunate that that even has to be a thing, but especially now that I've got 6 babies in here, I don't want them to go missing, which is what happened last year. So I'm going to put these up today, and hopefully we don't have any more issues. And ideally I see if there's coyotes and stuff, because if there is something walking in front of this, I'm going to get the notification right away, and then I can come out and remedy the situation. This camera also has a 2-way mic in it, so it does record audio, and I can speak to someone. So let's say someone's out here trying to snatch one of my goats, maybe I'll just come on the speaker and tell them to put it down, and I won't have to come outside. Unlikely, but the option to communicate with somebody via this is there, which is also really helpful. My other cameras at my old house had the same thing, so I could talk to the kids through them if I wasn't home. So I'm really looking forward to putting these up, and I'm gonna get these up real quick. Then I'm gonna head back down to the garden to finish up what I was doing. All right, it's time to start pulling up the potatoes, and I've prepared myself for disappointment. So let's just rip the Band-Aid off and see what we got. It's not too bad. They're kind of small, but honestly, I'm happy to even see potatoes in the dirt here, just based on how this season has gone. Another one. So whatever we get at this point, I'm going to be happy with. Okay, we like that. That is a good potato. That's perfect. It smells like dirt. I like it. Hey, look at that. Perfect. What is that? Well, that looks like something. Okay, this one's much better. What's that saying? Expect the worst and you won't be disappointed. Look at that. That is great. Holy crap. Look at that. I just finished up the first plot, and honestly, not as bad as I thought. I mean, it's not as great as I would like it to be, but it's really not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was expecting literally like 10 potatoes, and I've got almost a full crate, so that's not awful. This spot back here is the spot that did not get flooded, so I'm hoping that it performs better than the first one. Let's find out. All right, I just finished the second patch of potatoes, and ironically, it did not perform as well as the first patch that I harvested, which is kind of weird because the first patch was the one that drowned out and I had to replant later in the season, so it was way behind where the second patch was when I first planted them. So I'm a bit confused on that, but either way, I got just over a full crate of potatoes, which is not probably enough to keep us going until next year, but it's better than nothing, which is what I was expecting. So I did get a good amount of fairly decent sized potatoes in there. There are quite a few small ones, but that's okay because the small ones I can just use for soup and stuff. But the big ones, I actually did get a significant amount of bigger potatoes, so I'm happy about that. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. Everything's taken down. All of the plots, for the most part, are ready for next season. The last thing left to do will be pull the cherry tomatoes, but I'm gonna leave those alone because there's still tons on there. And I've got a handful of carrots left to pull and my leeks, which are not ready yet. Other than that, the garden is pretty much finished. Garlic will not be going in for another month or so probably. It's still a little bit too warm for that and way too early to be planting garlic. So that will leave me time to weed this area, till it up, and get it ready for the garlic. Otherwise, that is it for this video. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram @_livingdifferent, where you can stay up to date on what I'm doing all the time. I post on there multiple times a day, and Instagram always includes content that's different from YouTube. Don't forget to check out the website, www.living-different.com, where you can have a browse through all the products I have to offer on there. When you first log into the website, a little box will pop up and it'll prompt you if you want to sign up for the weekly newsletter. The newsletter comes out every Sunday at 9. If you don't want to sign up for the newsletter, that's totally fine. Just hit the X and you can continue to browse the website as normal. All of my fall products are up on the website now, so any fall scented soap is now on the website. And merchandise is actually coming soon too, so check that out. That's it for this video though. Thanks for watching, and I will see you back up at the cabin. Bye!